July 29, 2025. This is S&P 500 E-futures mini on a 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. Kind of continuing from yesterday, spiked in the overnight. Looked like it was two legs down, then the third, two legs down in the pre-market. Rally, kind of went sideways, sold off, pushed up. There was economic data that came out at around 7 o'clock. This is the JOLTS Job Openings. And then it kind of gradually went on this side, this yellow sell-off. Then it fell and kind of went on this larger 2 to 3 leg push down. And I kind of drew this purple, thinking it semi-fit well, but I didn't really take any trades off of that. Looked like it went a spike in a channel, then a sideways gradual sell-off where I did take a trade, break, test low, rally, push down, and then sideways, sold off into the close. So overall, it was kind of like a sell-off day, but it was a very choppy sell-off, a sideways chop. I did manage to take one trade and it was profitable. And overall, there wasn't too many setups that I could find despite these nice big moves. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get in on any of those. Okay, so in the pre-market, continuing from yesterday, there was this big push up on this green up channel. Looked like it made two measured legs down, hit a localized area. Looked like it was kind of two legs up, one push up, pull back, second leg up, but there's no real second entry. It says first entry right here. On the open and push down on the screen is a first entry. Technically, there's a second entry, but there's just too many dojis in a row right here. Not a big fan of that. Pushes up. Right here is kind of a little bit choppy. It looks like it was almost like in a trading range. Initially, it had something drawn like this. And it's fit somewhat well because you did have a triple test here. Technically, the new low, first entry short, second entry short, maybe a triple test here. I just didn't like the signal bar. When it did follow through and confirm like two legs up, sell off, I was looking for lower high, but it never showed up. Moves down on the screen, down channel break. Test the low, that's where I drew this big orange one because it looked like it fit pretty well. Then it looked like it was moving up on this orange up channel, break, test the high, and it was technically a new low. First entry short. You have a confirmed second entry short here, but here you were not thinking of going short yet because it's a bad doji signal bar. Then you get a lower high here. I actually thought this is a possible trade, but this blue area is right where the economic data came out, which is 7 o'clock Pacific Standard. So this is kind of the JOLTS job openings. This is where a lot of volatility might show up. This is right around, this is pretty close to 7 o'clock. And then right here for the timestamps about 7 o'clock. So I don't want to get involved in this, but if there was no economic data coming out right here, I think this is a viable setup right here. Unfortunately, this is right in the middle of the JOLTS job opening news, so you need to stay away from things like that. So I'm usually kind of hanging out, and then it was like 7:05. This is where I would think about taking a trade, but during this kind of volatility, I'm a little more cautious. Move sideways. I think I'm in a trading range. There's a fail breakout here. I'm expecting prices to come back in. You technically only have a first entry short here. Now you have a potential second entry short because there's a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. I thought this is a possible trade because it looks like it's coming in for a fail breakout. It's a third touch of this trend line, which I later turned into a channel. But right now it was only a trend line, so it's actually one touch, two touch, three touch. Decent signal bar. I'm expecting prices to move back in here. This is good enough for 1-point scalp. I don't know if it'd be good enough for a 2-point scalp because 2-point scalp, as you can see, it's 64.31. You have to get down to 64.29, which is not only pushing through where I have my trading range, but you'd be kind of reaching for the low side, which feels a little risky. If this range was wider, then maybe it'd be good enough for a 2-point scalp, but this is at least, I think, good enough for a 1-point scalp. Here it looks like a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. Second entry long has failed. It pushed really strongly. This is an almost trade because I actually didn't see it as a failed second entry long until it actually failed right here. So by that time, you know, if I wasn't on this trade, it's too late. And it looks like it's hitting this support that I was concerned about, it stopped right at the same point, 1, 2, 3. So is it going to have a fail breakout and move back in? I'm not 100% sure. So certainly after this signal bar closed, or this bar closed, I'm not trying to enter a short now. Just kind of a wait. Pushes down, pops around. Saw this as a new low. First entry short. Pull back, pushes up. Technically, you kind of like have a hidden second entry short, but unless you took it on the engulfing, which is risky because you're concerned that it might stop you out right here or hit some kind of resistance, you wouldn't take it after the close here. So it's like an almost second entry short setup. Follows down on this yellow down channel pretty nicely. It breaks through. So I'm expecting a move back in, but it doesn't. So then it looks like it's following down on this green down channel pretty well. I'm just following through. Oops. There's a break of this green down channel. One attempt down to test the low. Almost makes it. Technically, I have a second entry short here, but it just looks very congested. I thought there was more of a triple test here. I saw this. So I had this drawn as a trend line coming down. A little bit closer to here. Let's see, I'm going to initially I had it tighter, about right there. Renormalize this, bring this back in. I did kind of a count reset here because it's like a new low, first entry short, second entry short. I just kind of did a count reset saying this is all the same. Started as a first entry short pullback, second entry short. The second entry short I actually thought was a possible trade. It's kind of visual second entry short. There's an EMA rejection, so EMA is holding as resistance. There's a one touch, two touch, three touch of this trend line, which I turned into a channel here. Because initially I was thinking, is there a possible, maybe slightly higher here? It didn't look quite right. And I kind of dragged it to here. There's a long dwell time outside, so it didn't look quite right either. And I dragged it down here. When I have this type of channel, I trust the three touch confirmations more than I trust the support. So of this channel, I trust setups, especially it's going bearish, selling off. I trust this setup going short as opposed to trying to take a long off of this more suspect support side. I also like that this engulfed this, so it moved one tick above, then flushed and technically engulfed this. The only way this would have been better is if it closed at the low, but I thought this is pretty much good enough, even for a 2-point scalp. This would have been good for a 2-point scalp, pushes down. This is nothing, no good trade setups here, because these are just too many dojis. There's just too much indecision. Tug of war is really strong. Pushes back up, bounces. So now this purple down channel, so I'm not expecting anything to happen with this yellow now. I'm not expecting prices to move back in. I think this yellow down channel is played out. So I'm now focusing mainly on this purple down channel, but it has one touch, two touch, three touch, four touch confirmation. I trust this trend line pretty well now. This lower side is still a little suspect, so I'm only mainly looking for shorts. We only have a first entry short here, another first entry short. Technically, you have a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long failure, but this is kind of out in the middle of nowhere. This green down channel hasn't been established yet until about here. Then I said, hey, this looks like prices are moving down somewhat pretty well on this green down channel. So now it's bouncing here. So it's only one touch, two touch, but it broke through. So I'm expecting maybe a fail breakout, or it's still trading in this green down channel. Kind of has a small breakout here. It looks like it's moving back in. So first entry short, but then you make another new low. Well, I don't know where that purple, oh, there it is. That was kind of strange. So it's like a first entry short, and it keeps going back down. So now it's breaking. So I'm thinking, is it possible that this fits better here? So instead of having a first contact here, it's one touch, two touch, three touch. If this kind of plays out with more price action fitting pretty well, then I would trust this as a good support now. Right now, I trust the high side resistance supports the third touch confirmation. So it's looking pretty good, which is up. So now I'm hoping for a strong resistance here and a setup. But right now, the best you can hope for right now is a first entry short. So you have a first entry short, but it's above the EMA. Technically, you have a second entry short here, but when you see this, you're not thinking of going short yet. It's confirmed. First entry, second entry, looks like it's leg up, and then maybe a spike in a channel, but it kind of hits sideways consolidation. It looks like there's some kind of reaction on this line. Either it's resistance or support. I didn't quite turn into a channel yet. It's a new high. First entry long, pull back. Technically, you have a second entry long here. It hasn't failed, but now it fails. So I didn't quite see this in time, but I noticed it, after the fact. So after the fact that, there's no trade there because you wouldn't have taken a trade. You can't go back in time and take the trade. But I also thought, hey, that looks like it's following down this orange down channel. So right now, this purple down channel has a break and might test the low, but it kind of pushed strongly and held out here for quite a while. So I'm not too sure it's going to come back down and test the low of this purple down channel. And then it creates a lower high. So technically you have a new high. First entry long, pullback. Second entry long has failed. It creates this lower high. I like the lower high that it engulfed one tick above, but it pushed down. Unfortunately, if I'm trading in this orange down channel, it's really close to here. And it's respecting it somewhat well because like technically one touch here, two touch. You could actually say it's maybe four touches, one touch, two touch, three touch. So it looks like it's following here. Shorting into this potential support area feels dicey. So it's an almost trade, unfortunately. And then the follow through, you see this doji, it doesn't give you a lot of confidence to continue going short. And just because you don't want to go short doesn't mean you want to go long either. It's just a little ambiguous. Pushes up. And actually, this is where I take my one and only trade. So it looks like it's a, okay, I'll go through the whole thought process. Excuse me. It's a push down. Excuse me. This orange down channel is a break, and I'm expecting a test of this low. And then the signal bar here, so it's like a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. This second entry short, this should be the signal bar, but then you have a follow through, so this could be the signal bar. First entry short, second entry short. It looked like it was hitting some kind of resistance. EMA is starting to act as resistance. Yes, I'm potentially in a trading range, and I could be selling into the low. But I also thought this is a good signal bar. It looks like enough for a quick 1 point scalp. I should have just gone for 1 point because in hindsight, I aimed for 2 and I would be selling into this support, but there was enough for a 1 point scalp. I ended up trying to go for 2. So I shorted right at the close here. I'm watching. I had to sit through this because my stop was one tick above here. When I saw it push up, I thought I was definitely going to lose on this trade, but it ended up closing here. So it gave me the conviction to just hold and not try to get out break even. Then it flushes down. And this is actually a very lucky trade because I went for 2 points and I got it. But as you can see, if I held for more than 2, or because it didn't really quite tick through 2 points, it hit exactly 2. And I was lucky enough that I was in the queue to get the 2 point fill. 1 point would have been safe. 2 was definitely a reach. If I didn't get filled here, which very likely could have happened, I would have gotten stopped out here and probably be kicking myself for not just taking 1 point. Considering the ATR today at this time of day was below 2, it was a little dicey. Plus, I was selling into this range. So in hindsight, this was definitely a little riskier. Should have gone for 1, but I went for 2. Lucky it paid off. Fail breakout, pushes up. This candle likely would have stopped me out. And prices continue moving down. Break of this orange down channel has tested the low. It starts reversing up. I had this initially tighter. I actually had this something like this, but it broke and it kept going. So I thought the break and move up is a lot larger than in the initial leg. So that's where I adjusted it to something closer to this. So I'm thinking, okay, actually all this price action might be contained in this yellow up leg. It breaks, but then it just starts moving sideways. Technically a new high, first entry long, second entry long. This isn't a good signal bar to go long on. You could reset the count and say it's a first entry long, but then it makes a new high here. So all bets are off, the count resets. You have a first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long. Second entry long, this isn't a very good signal bar. The follow through isn't convincing. Then you have a second entry long that now confirmed the fail, but it's failing and the EMA is hitting pretty much flat. I had this thinking, excuse me, am I in some kind of larger grading range, like from this to this? So actually, it's since been adjusted, but I was extending this down to here at one time. So although it's a failed second entry long, I'm thinking it's a failed breakout, potential move back in, but then it starts continue going down. So it's a missed opportunity, but here there wasn't, in my opinion, at least with my experience, enough information to tell me, yeah, definitely go short. If this had been a red candle, for sure. Price to start moving down to this green down channel, break. There's no real setup here. It's a new low, first entry short, makes another new low. You have a first entry short, pull back. You have a second entry short here. I like that it moved one tick above and flushed down. Unfortunately, before it closed, it pushed all the way back up to here. So you have a first entry short, second entry short. This isn't a good indication to go short, but I'm not thinking of failed second entry short either. I'm looking for a lower high below the EMA. So hopefully in the next couple candles, there's like a lower high, touches the EMA, and then closes nicely bearish. But it doesn't quite do that. Pushes down, kind of drops sideways. Break of this orange up channel tested the high. So I'm thinking this orange up channel may have played out. Comes back down, pushes, and I think there's an actual setup here. It's like a second entry short. So it's a break of this green down channel, break, tested the low. I'm thinking this green down channel has played out because it's tested the low. Now it's pushing up on this orange up channel. Looks like it's one leg up, two legs down, and another leg back up. In this leg itself, you have a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Potential fail breakout of this trading range. And I like that this setup, this is the trigger bar, move one tick above, and completely engulfs the signal bar and closes at the low. So yes, if you're playing this green up channel, it could test the highs, but I'm thinking the way this is playing out, it looks like it's moving back into range. Nice signal bar close, good for 1 point. I'm not sure about 2 points, but lately with summer trading and the way price action has been moving, I try to be a little more conservative, maybe just going back to 1 point scalps instead of 2 points until the ATR and the volume and volatility increase. But I thought this might have been good enough for a 1 point scalp. So I would have entered probably here, and then one of these candles would have given me the 1 point scalp. And if you actually waited for two, you would have gotten it probably on this candle. It bounces. The second entry short here looks like it's two legs up, coming off the bottom of a range. First entry short, pull back. Second entry short, decent signal bar, but I'm actually thinking prices might come back up to the high. I didn't expect this big push down. Then it breaks through, starts moving down on this yellow down channel. It's a little confusing because you have these dojis really close in sequence. Break this yellow down channel, starts moving back up. I thought there was going to be a test this yellow, but when it recovered more than 50% of this leg, I'm not so sure that it's going to come back and test the lows anymore. But as you can tell, this is starting here is the last 10 minutes, so it's hard to trust any setups here because you can just tell right here is 12:59 and 20 seconds. Let's see. Well, right here is 12:59. So from this red candle all the way over here, this is 1 minute of trading. And you can see how many 2,000 tick candles, how many orders just flew through. So it's just very, make sure you have to be very cautious, especially in the last 10 minutes. So if you're not already in a trade, definitely you don't want to take a new trade. Especially for me, last 30 minutes, I was just kind of a little bit more weary of trying to do anything because I was already profitable on a very more aggressive trade, more risky setup. So I already knew how fortunate I was going for 2 points when I probably should have gone with one. And in the follow through, there weren't too many other setups. So it just made me extra conservative to not try to make anything happen. So kind of how I saw the charts today. Hopefully that was helpful.